Hello and welcome everyone. Today we're going to continue our series of talks about Scrum retrospectives. And our today's speaker, Faye, is the head of Agile delivery at Tech, and she's going to talk about the retrospectives and self-reflection today. Welcome, Faye. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Alex, for the invitation. This is Faye. I'm very happy to be here with you guys, and especially, having as our discussion topic, this particular topic, because I need to tell you guys, retrospectives is my favorite team activity, and how otherwise, since this is the moment to bond as a team, to reflect on our ways of working and eventually grow together. But a little bit about myself. I'm a software engineer. This is the truth. But my heart was stolen by Agile a few years ago. Because you see, having experienced myself as an engineer, as part of an engineering team, how this micromanagement can actually destroy talent and motivation, I decided to pursue a different path, to do things differently. And luckily, as I can see, I'm not alone. So there have been some years now that I'm working with teams and helping them achieve their momentum, and let's say, in a way, helping them find their full potential. And guess what? It's working. So that's what I'm here to share with you today, even with just a slight input about retrospectives. So are you ready to see what this is all about? I bet you are. So if you're working with teams, especially, let's say, the last 10 years, and especially in the software industry, you would probably have already heard at some point the term of self-managed teams. Yes, I know, apart from this cliche buzzword, there is some value to it. There is still value to it. To put it shortly, self-managed teams are like the antidote to micromanagement. And I bet now I got your attention. We all hate micromanagement, right? I bet we are. Yes, we hate micromanagement, but it takes something else to be in place to get rid of micromanagement. It's not cheap. And often I hear many people, especially in leadership positions, people wishing for a better management style, wishing for teamwork, it's another buzzword, wishing for ownership, for accountability. But we're not getting anywhere if we're just wishing, though, are we? We need to take intentional actions to move the management responsibilities from an individual level towards a team level. This, of course, doesn't mean that the team is in autopilot. Rather that there is like a high sense of ownership and contribution among team members. This is what we're aiming for. But before going there, let's remind ourselves what those self-managed teams bring on the table. And after all, does it really worth it? Can't we just stay in this oldie-goodie micromanagement style? Said no one ever. So you can tell a self-managed team from any other team, mostly due to this feeling of motivation in the air. They're up to the task, working together. They use their experiences as learning opportunities, often challenging themselves in a healthy way, of course, to get down to the root cause of things. They learn from their mistakes and they learn from each other. Practically, self-managed teams are also low maintenance. You don't need a manager to check whether, each team member is actually on their desk, or having them, spending hours and hours filling these old Excel timesheets. But also, those self-managed teams are time and cost efficient because they don't need to, someone to monitor their work. They're self-driven in a way. But the truth is that we can achieve so much more working together, working in teams, especially those self-managed ones. So what's the path to get there? Because I bet you are all intrigued by now about these self-managed teams. But what's the path to get there? You see, self-managed teams, they don't grow on trees, apparently. Rather, they require self-driven individuals. And the common characteristic that self-driven individuals share is self-awareness. We're finally getting there, guys, don't worry. So there I was a few years ago, wondering, how can I help my team become more self-aware? How can we incorporate, as an organization, as a company, how we can incorporate self-reflection in our ways of working, in our DNA? And this is how the self-reflective retrospective came into life. So what was the case? I was an agile coach, a younger one. In a mature team, we were doing Scrum for a while. We were confident, we were getting there. But we have taken a new feature, a new project, let's say, which lasted for approximately more or less 4 to 5 sprints, if you are familiar with sprints. During the first 2 sprints, a huge impediment rose. And as expected, remember, we were a mature team doing Scrum. This impediment was discussed in detail. And surprisingly, it led to a dead end. Yes, guys, this can happen to even the best teams. We were in a dead end, and I was in despair. The impediment was escalated to upper management to help us, move around it. And you know how things go. Lots of discussions, navigating around politics, and so on and so on. But the aftermath was taking too long. Meanwhile, time was ticking, and the upcoming retrospective, the 3rd in a row, actually, was very, very close, and I had to deal with an overwhelmed team. These teams that they are looking you in a specific way, having the overwhelmed face, looking to you as your Scrum Master or as your team leader, waiting for answers. That was the case. So the problem for me, it was that I had to figure out how to run this retrospective. I was terrified, to be honest, how to run this retrospective without spending valuable time that should be spent on learning rather than, nattering around something that we couldn't deal with, at least at this particular moment. But there were other things we could focus on. You see, I had noticed in the past that the team was using this impediment and other similar impediments in the past as an excuse to hide things under the rug being the impediment itself. Something like, we have this impediment, we cannot overcome it. Let's nag about that, I don't know, for 1 million years now. Others need to fix this for us. There's nothing else we can do, and so on and so on. The team was adopting kind of a passive-aggressive attitude. Sounds familiar? Hope not, but I bet it does. I see already Alex nodding. So the experiment had in mind was about, could I just guide the team to shift their focus from that certain impediment, from the rug, let's say, over to themselves, so that, by adopting a more self-reflective approach, the team could detach from that impediment and focus on those things that they could actually influence at that particular moment, taking into account the aspects that they could improve for themselves, or what they could improve or shape their environment apart from this thing that, it was kind of on hold. There are things we can improve. It's not just that particular impediment. I mean, come on. If the impediment would be resolved, wouldn't be anything else for us to improve. That's it. That's the only thing left for us to reflect upon. Come on. I don't buy it. So the goal at this particular moment for me was to guide the team to a mindset change. The moment you say the C word, it's the change, everyone get a bit defensive. I don't know what's happening around the world with the word change. Well, change, of course, it's not an easy thing to pursue. That's why the defense. And it does not happen in a glimpse. The most important thing I had in mind back then was how to guide the team to promote positive future behaviors. However, there is a trap here. There's always a trap. Staying on just the positive side without acknowledging all the painful points could be rather superficial, and at some point even annoying if we just, obsess with the positive thing and the positive attitude. We need to respect and acknowledge the pain points, but not be obsessed with them, of course. What we want to do is to acknowledge what we could change and then focus on the positive stuff. Of course, we need to remember that, even in the gloomiest situations, there must be something that we have done right, even something, really small. So the goal here is to identify and promote good decisions and positive behaviors, and even self-reflection as a habit itself, without even, getting into actions. Self-reflection as a habit among team members could be a major gain. So, how you can run this self-reflective activity with your team? Let's get to the point. Even if you're working in a remote team or with a collocated one, it's really, really simple. You just draw two columns because it's two parts, mostly two parts. One part to reflect on what happened, to reflect on the actual behavior, on the actual events. How did you react? Remember the details. What triggered that reaction? It's focus. This first part is focused on what happened. The second part is to reflect on an alternative course of events, alternative actions, alternative behaviors. How could you react differently? So this part is focused on the future, what behaviors you want to drive for the future. Then you can ask the team to think over several situations from the recent past and identify how they reacted as individuals or how they reacted as a team, as a whole. So was it really your evil you or your angel you? Now you need to think how you could have handled it, this particular event, this particular situation, in a different way. You need to come up with an alternative behavior for each situation. Unless you are happy with how you handle it, of course. But even if you are happy, I bet you could improve something, even the slightest thing. You don't want to stay too long on the bad things, the difficult events. Just acknowledge them, pay your respects, but mainly move on your good behaviors, what you would like to improve and do differently. You can use your imagination here to drive exactly that, positive future behaviors. You know, after all, how coaching works. Coaching by example is far more effective than by correction. And to be honest, there's no such thing. There's no coaching by correction. It's coaching by example and by reflection and focusing on the things that on the changes that we want to drive, firstly for ourselves and then in a more collective way. So let's see some examples. Some of those examples from that very first team a few years ago. So one team member wrote, during the planning meeting, I lost my temper several times. Obviously, this was the evil me. On the contrary, my better self would have been more patient and more gentle. After all, these guys are my mates. Guys, this is the exact words from this very first retrospective. Another one wrote, I tend to speak too much, to give unnecessary details and tire my teammates. On the contrary, I could be more structured in my verbal communication. Or you can do it the other way around. You can change the rules and start from the positive behavior. For example, another team member wrote, during the sprint, my better self resisted the urge to interrupt, and I tried taking notes to help myself to put some boundaries on that bad habit and resist the urge to interrupt. While the evil me could continue this annoying habit. You see how they changed the rules? They even started from the future behavior, but always paying respect and acknowledging to the change itself, to what they want to change. So since at this point, now that we are all warmed up and you saw some examples from the actual team, I would kindly invite you, yes, now that you are here with us, to reflect just for a moment, just for a few seconds. And if you have pen and paper nearby, just pick them up. And let's say for 1 minute, think of a recent event, something small, something really small that could even happen today. Maybe something that went unnoticed. Note it down in a few words. Something really small. And now you can think of how could you have reacted differently? Is there anything you would like to change in this particular small little thing that happened today, that happened in your day? Yes, do it now with me, just for a sec. You won't have to share. This is just for you to experience, to get a glimpse of this self-reflection. What can you notice for yourself now? What is happening for you now? Just doodle some stuff, things that are important for your reflection. I'm giving you just a few seconds, just to give you a hint on how this works. That was it. I bet it didn't hurt that much. Surprisingly, it doesn't hurt. So the key here is for everyone to identify how we could influence and even shape our environment, what is happening around us. During this part, a strongly bonded team could even suggest ways to support each individual, to support each other in pursuing their best behaviors. So, for example, you could brainstorm on things that the team could do to support each other on bringing their best selves in the team. You see, even that could be a team effort. Imagine that, how we could, how bringing our best selves could be a team effort. Solidarity in its best. Again, the most important thing is to focus on promoting better future behaviors. But there is also a part in this retrospective on deciding what to do next. The action items part of this retrospective format is a little bit tricky. I would be really impressed if you could define specific action items during such retrospective. The actual action items could be like an ethical contract among team members to try expressing a better version of ourselves. Just that could be a significant action to take, especially if it's intentional. I've seen in the past, and I absolutely loved it, an action of updating even the working agreements of the team after such a session. But the major gain for a team is not as trivial and specific as usual in usual retrospectives. Rather, it is an opportunity for coaching. It's a coaching session, more or less. Coaching towards a sense of accountability and ownership, rather than, using these impediments or anything that is happening around us as an excuse for not learning and not improving as a team. Also, I highly recommend this format, and I've used that in the past, especially for teams that are going through a healing phase. Maybe there's been a conflict among team members, or something significant happened in the company that caused some frustration. One way or another, maybe a team needs to go through a healing phase. And what better than reflection and self-awareness? So this coaching flavor retrospective can do just that. Guide the team to reflect and go through the healing phase by focusing on positive future behaviors. And that's it. Congrats, guys. Your team just made a significant step to self-knowledge and empowerment. But of course, don't forget to handle that initial impediment. As a bonus, I've tried this, I've been trying this format for a few years now. So another tweak you can try is that you can easily apply this exact same format, even the templates I'm going to share with you later on, as a coaching exercise, even for individual coaching. I've used it several times, and it has helped me guide my coachees to reflect and take ownership of any change or any improvement they decide to pursue. It's useful for coaches, for managers, for HR. It does not require to know everything or to be an expert coach. What is required, though, is to have a trusting relationship with the other person, simply because coaching happens only in a safe space. That's all you need. So what's next? Is there any reference material for you to use, something that you could easily use, let's say, tomorrow morning with your teams? Of course there is. I created 2 templates for you guys for the self-reflective retrospective, one in Miro and one in Mural. I don't know whether you're using these online collaboration tools, but I guess they are the most popular ones. And I'm gonna walk you through how you can easily find this template. So if you go, let me find it. Yes, if you go in, let's say Miro, and you select the templates, it's a bit tricky. That's why I thought to help you navigate this. If you simply search self-reflective, you most probably won't find it, but there is a trick. You need to go to the Miroverse, to the community templates, where you know, many people, coaches and facilitators, we share our own experiences and our own experiments. So you need to go to community templates by selecting Explore More. Miro will navigate you to this part with the dark background. And if you search just by the word self-reflective, here it is. It's the self-reflective retrospective, and just by selecting use template, it's all yours. Simple as this. The trick is to remember that when you are looking for templates in Miro, templates that are shared among community members, you need to go right here where it says community templates. In Neural, though, things are much simpler, and you can just search. Oops. And here it is. There is a slightly difference in the look and feel, but it's more or less the same. Also, there is an article in Medium for you to revisit with all the links and everything you need. And I would kindly ask Alex, I know he does this regularly, to share this exact presentation with you, with all the links and references for you to use. But mostly, I would absolutely love for you to use the templates, to experiment with your teams. And please don't hesitate to come back with any feedback, improvements, or any of your thoughts. That was it for now. Whatever you want to ask, I'm all ears. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much, Faye, for this, for sharing this magic trick and the tool for turning a retrospective that can be sometimes a blame game into this space for developing empathy among the team members. I'm looking forward to access the templates and put them in practice. And right now, I would actually suggest us to switch off the recording and invite everyone to join us, turn on the cameras and microphones, and join us for the discussion.